Hey, Kaylee. How you doing, kid? I hope everything's going all right. And just want to let you know we're all thinking of you, but I want to get you some information that will help you with the assignments I posted for today, May 1st. This is the first time I'm doing this, so you got to totally forgive me. But we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be helped today by 5 of my friends. And I want to introduce you to all 5 of my friends. We've got this guy, the Egyptian. We've got this guy here, we're going to call him Crassus. We've got this guy here, that's Caesar. This guy here, he's the Parthian. And this guy here, the weirdo with the beardo, that's Pompey. So these guys are going to help us go through our history lesson today. So I gave you guys some assignments earlier. I gave you assignments on Pompey. I gave you assignments on Crassus. I gave you assignments on Caesar. And now we're looking at Brutus, and he's not one of these 5. And the decision he has to make, which we see through Julius Caesar, Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar. So let's get these guys set up and figure out how they can help us. All right, so we're going to take the Egyptian and we're going to take the Parthian away. They'll go over here for now. They're not relevant for the moment. All right, so let's move these 3 guys back. So once upon a time in Rome, there were 3 powerful people who all wanted to control Rome. Pompey, Caesar, and Crassus. So here's the deal. Pompey was Rome's best general. Crassus was Rome's richest man, but not really a general. And the problem with that in Rome is that in Rome, your real reputation was based on being a good general. He had a lot of cash. He kind of got it through some cheating ways, but hey, everybody was cheating in Rome at the time, so what the hey. And then Caesar, who was the young guy in the crew. He had a lot of future. Pompey was an optimate, which means he had the old tradition and the Senate in his pocket. Caesar was a populare, which means he had the crowd, the common Slavs in his pockets. And Crassus wanted to go pick out of the pocket that had the best stuff. And so Crassus looked at the 2 guys. What does Caesar have? What does Pompey have? He chooses the side with Caesar because he believes that Caesar, the up-and-coming guy, is going to be more powerful. But here's the thing. If these 2 and this guy go to war, who knows how it plays out. He's the best general. He's got the system. He's got the Senate. He's got a lot of the wealth and the power, and he's just a young punk up and coming. And so what they all decide to do is share power equally. The 3 of them are going to create this thing called the Triumvirate. And all 3 of them are going to have power. See, Crassus is okay with that because he really doesn't want Caesar. He needs Caesar. What he really wants is power by himself, as does Caesar, as does Pompey. But you may remember, the worst thing to be called in Rome is the guy who wants power all by himself, a tyrant. So all 3 of these guys have to play the game of, we're going to be pro-Rome, not pro-me. And so each one of these guys is sent off to a different part of Rome to control certain areas and expand Rome's power. Pompey goes to Spain and North Africa. Crassus goes to Mesopotamia and the Parthian Empire. And Caesar goes north of the Alps into Gaul, into modern-day southern France.
Your attention, please. All students, if you are not with a teacher or a coach, you need to be in the cafeteria waiting for your ride home. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so you got to remember, all 3 of them are sharing power. If one of them looks like they're going to start to take over, the other 2, regardless of who they are, might team up against the 3rd. So none of them are really going to go off on their own and do their own thing while there's three of them competing for power. So Crassus goes off over to Persia. Let's move these guys away. They're going to go sit on the sideline and watch this whole thing going on. They're going to go over to Persia. Remember, he's the Parthian guy. He's going to go over to there, and they're going to have a battle. Oh, look out, watch out, and ow, and Crassus will die. Well, let's history and stories sometimes coincide, sometimes they don't. Sometimes a myth is made, and it might or might not be historic. So the myth is that Crassus, who was the greedy, money-hungry guy who wanted gold, gets gold when the Parthian says, "You want some gold? Well, shove it down your throat," and they pour molten gold. Oh, blub, 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 blub. I don't like the gold. Blub, blub, blub. I've had enough gold, thank you, and killed him. Or he just died in battle. I don't know. One of those is a much better story. So anyway, Crassus is dead. So we'll put the Parthians over there for now. They can go back and do their thing. And the other two guys come out, and they're like, "Whoa, did you hear what happened?" "Yes, I heard what happened. Crassus is dead." "Well, what does that mean for us?" "What does that mean for us?" "Well, now there's just two of them. Just Pompey and Caesar. There's no third part to form a bigger alliance. And the race is on." So what happens is Pompey demands that Caesar come home without his armies, without his weapons, by himself. And Caesar knows if he comes home with no weapons, he knows exactly what Pompey's going to do. And so Caesar comes home with his entire army. They've been fighting in Gaul for like 10 years. They're very powerful. They're incredibly competent as warriors. They've become incredibly wealthy because of all of what Caesar's been able to do. And they don't like their guy being treated this way. And so Caesar showed up and Pompey took off. Now you got to remember, Pompey's the guy in charge of North Africa. So he goes to North Africa. And he's on the run, trying to run away from Caesar. And he runs right into the Egyptians. Now the Egyptians, they know what's going on. And they recognize that Caesar is no friend to Pompey. And so the Egyptians believe that this is the best time to make friends with Caesar. And so, when Pompey's not looking, they kill him. Dead. And they cut his head off. And they put it in a box. And when Caesar shows up, he's like, "Hey, have you seen Pompey around?" They're like, "Yeah, look in the box." And he looks in the box. He's like, "What's in the box? Oh, what's in the..." And they see Pompey's head. And Caesar's like, "The head of the guy who's keeping me from getting what I want. How shall I respond?" What would you think? Would Caesar be happy to see Pompey's head in the box? Would Caesar be grossed out by seeing Pompey's head in the box? Would Caesar be mad? Well, he can't be grossed out because he's just spent the last 10 years like committing genocide in France. So he's okay with like death and dead people. And this was his hated enemy. And the guy standing in the way of Caesar becoming all powerful. But here's the problem. This guy's not Rome. He's some other country. And dead Pompey was one of Rome's greatest generals, one of its greatest heroes, had some of its greatest accomplishments. So, if a foreign country kills one of Rome's greatest people, and Caesar comes by and says, thank you, that means that Caesar isn't on the side of Rome. He's on the side of Egypt. And so if Caesar does that, then he's now a traitor to Rome.
Bianca Pipus, please come to the main office. Bianca Pipus to the main office.
And so Caesar needs to fully support Rome, and it means he has to fully support Pompey. And he gets really mad at Egypt. And he's done. We'll put him over there. And the shield too. We don't need that. So now Caesar needs to come home to Rome, and he needs to be able to say, I supported Pompey, even though he didn't. He can't let Pompey be a martyr. He can't let Pompey be a hero, but he doesn't have any choice anymore. See, Caesar wanted to catch Pompey, turn Pompey into a traitor, bring him home to Rome in chains, and destroy his reputation before Pompey was killed, so that way Pompey died a traitor, but now he died a hero. And Caesar needs to deal with the fact that he's got to fight a dead hero while he's still alive enough to make mistakes. Well, on the way back, he stopped off at Parthia, killed them, took all of the stuff that the Parthians had stole from Crassus, throw him out of the way, and he comes back home to Rome. And he comes back home to Rome with all the spoils. He comes back and he tells everybody how awesome he had been. He had all these battles. He won all these wars. He went and he rescued Pompey's head, and he took back all of the flags and other pendants and everything else from the Parthians that Crassus had lost. He had all of these celebratory parades. And now Caesar was awesome. But he still had Pompey's legacy to deal with. Pompey was dead, but his reputation was very much alive. So this brings us to the Julius Caesar play. And in the very beginning of the play, we see one of the only comic moments in this play. You may know that Julius Caesar is a Shakespeare play, and Shakespeare plays have a lot of comedy thrown in. Even the tragedies have comedy. So oftentimes what Shakespeare would do is he would have this like really dark moment where everybody's like so emotional, and then some clown would show up and do something funny and stupid, and they would all laugh, and then cut the tension, and then Shakespeare goes right back, okay, let's go back to killing everybody. Well, Julius Caesar is so dark that the funny stuff happens in the beginning, and then that's it. But here's the funny stuff. So we're going to take Julius Caesar, we'll put him off to the side for a little bit. We'll take Pompey, we'll put him off to the side for a little bit. And 3 Romans show up. 3 common Slav Romans. And they're walking through the streets, and 2 senators show up. And the 2 senators come up and say, why are you walking through the streets? And that's these guys' chance to shine. So one of the 3 starts telling jokes about how he mends shoes, and the only way he's able to get business is if he gets people to walk up and down wearing out their shoes. So he's really trying to increase his business by getting these people to walk up and down. And these 2 guys are like, you're stupid. Give me the real reason. And so the real reason these guys are told is that these guys are here to see Caesar's triumphal parades. Remember, this guy who's going to be parading through the city talking about how awesome he is. Here's the problem. These guys are Pompey supporters. They don't like Caesar, and they don't like that Pompey's dead. And they don't like that Caesar's taking the credit for bringing him back with honor. Because they know what Caesar really wanted to do. So they're mad. But what's worse is that the common Slavs, not too long before, barely a few years ago, had gone to the parade of Pompey, and they were cheering for Pompey, this guy, as he went through the parade and went through Rome and saw how awesome, and everybody was like, "Hey, it's Pompey, we love that guy." And these guys are saying, "Look, you idiots, whose side are you on? Are you on Pompey's side like you were? Like everybody was? Or have you abandoned him and everything he stood for to go side with the guy who chased him to his death and is now trying to be the king of Rome? Whose side are you on?" And then the senators, who these other two guys were, basically beat these guys up and send them running. And that's the funny part. That leads us to the assignment that I posted for today for the Shakespeare Julius Caesar stuff. But it also gives us a little bit of information about some of the Pompey and Crassus stuff that you would have had in the past, and a little bit about the Julius Caesar stuff that you had in the middle. So I'm hoping this 16-minute video is going to be productive for you. I hope you can see that. I hope you laughed a little bit. I hope you cried a little bit. I hope you were able to get a few understandings. And I thank the Academy for my award. All right? We'll talk to you later. Bye.